My name's Justin Dickins and we're here on our farm here at Yeovil in central west New South Wales, property Greenvale. We own two properties, Greenvale and Cooler. It amounts to 1,020 hectares and we lease a further farm, another 200 hectares, Fairview. We're first generation farmers and have been here in the district since 2008 but purchased country here in 2012 and now run our own independent business on our aggregation. Speckle Parker are a relatively new breed to Australia. We felt they're an animal that were fit for environment, fit for purpose here in Australia. They're a very easy keeping animal, but highly efficient in conversion and excellent meat eating qualities. That attracted us to the cattle and yeah, we've been in them quite a while now and getting stronger and stronger. I think every drought's different. I don't know whether we're actually getting any less rainfall than 50, 100 years ago, but I think it's more sporadic. So what we see now is short, sharp, dry periods, some more extended, but our rainfall seems to fall in a different pattern. It falls fast, heavy, and then disappears for a while. I think education is hugely important. It's been instrumental in our success to date. You know, although I'm not tertiary educated, I've participated in lots and lots of short courses. I've done the Grazing for Profit School 3 times now and many, many other communication courses and other things. But you have to hang around mentors and people that are going to help make smart decisions. We live in an environment now where cost of production is quite high and fertiliser and fuel and labour and all these machinery, finance costs are elevated. So because we're livestock based and that's our passion, we have come to that realisation that if we can have a pasture base there that's there for decades, all we need to do is add a bit of phosphorus or, a bit of nitrogen from time to time. It's much better than having to sow a plant every year. We live in a non-seasonal rainfall environment here, so we need to hold that water when it falls. We've got to be much better at utilising the water. Whether we get rain in June or July or January, we can make use of it with a perennial pasture base. So we have headed down that path. It allows us to keep good ground cover in our country and harvest that water and grow that fodder and turn it into protein. This paddock we're in here is a 2.5-year-old perennial pasture comprising of lucerne, prairie grass, Temora fescue, holdfast phalaris and subclover. So it's got a bit of everything in it. It's a good example of what our goal is, I suppose, as a pasture base that's resilient. Got beautiful ground cover here. We could have torrential rain here and we're going to be able to hold the water. This is the goal, I suppose. We have basically 90% of the farm, which is under long-term perennials. Then we have probably 10% of the remaining farm, which is on the way to that long-term perennial base. I think once we make that investment, we get that pasture in and we get it established, we have to nurture it and we have to be able to vary our stocking rates. That can be a choice of removing them in the form of sales, or it can be pulling them off the land into containment if that's the viable choice. Our carrying capacity varies vastly from probably 400% or more at times. So we've come to the conclusion that if we want to be profitable, we have to be able to reap the rewards of the high times, and we also have to conserve on those lower rainfall years like we are in at the moment and destock and preserve the asset base. So we're feeding all our yearling heifers at the moment, which we feed daily now with a mixer wagon, which we've bought. Behind me here are our entire drop of yearling heifers. We knew we were in a bit of stocking rate pressure here about 3 months ago, and these came into containment. They're now on a ration that consists of 30% whole barley, 30% DDG and 40% barley straw. They get about 40 kilos of urea a day mixed in on that ration, and they're doing around 0.5 to 0.7 a day. We've invested in 2 OptiWeigh machines on farm, which we use in a paddock situation throughout the year. But when we brought these animals into containment, we saw the opportunity to be able to get real life daily information as to how these animals grow or maintain or lose weight or put on weight. And we could adjust our ration as required. Behind me here, a pretty simple version of a creep feeder. We use this to transition our calves towards weaning. And this year looks like we will probably have to early wean to match stocking rate to carrying capacity. What we've got in there is just a 50-50 blend of whole oats and DDG pellet, and these calves go underneath that tape, and basically it's just getting their rumen set up for when we take mum away. So by weaning these calves off their mother at a younger age than we otherwise would in a really good season, normally we'd probably wean at 7 to 8 months of age. Well, these will probably come off at more like 4.5 to 5, and the benefits there is we can tailor our remaining good feed for the calves, keep them growing well, and we can reduce their requirement on the cow. So we can basically cut their feed nearly in half. So it's reducing the overall stocking rate, which in dry times, that's your biggest cost. I think that's a really important part of containment feeding is if you're seeing animals walking, your daily requirements increase. So I like to see them when we're feeding them, eat their daily feed, go and have a drink and lay down, and really not showing any anxiety or stress or walking fences and bellowing and burning energy. So if we've got them in that frame of mind, I think we're well on the way to success. I think we're prepared. We always take a hedge, I guess, when we're heading into dry times to get fodder on hand. If we make a decision that we've got to get through a forecast dry period, we'll access fodder and get our reserves there so that we're not forced to make radical decisions in the heat of the moment. This is a spreadsheet we formulated ourselves. It's based on the theory of the KLR calculator, which we use not just in destocking times, but in restocking times as to what's the best trade out there that we can do. Our grazing chart is another important tool that all it does is map our stocking rate to our feed on hand. If it's telling us that we're overloaded, well, we've either got to get them into containment or get them off the farm somewhere. That combined with this, very important parts of the business. I think the word droughts, I don't like the word, I think it's overused. I think we have to accept we're in an industry that has variable climate, and in the past I think it becomes a social problem. I think people really feel that we need sympathy and we need help to get through these times. I think we have to help ourselves, and I think the way we can do that is be prepared, be educated, make proactive decisions ahead of time and put money aside in the good times to get us through these lesser times. It all starts with harvesting water. You must harvest the water that falls on your farm. And I think we can still improve that from where we are. We have a responsibility to do better. That's our focus, is to really keep working on that. And I think that there needs to be more industry focus on the positives that are out there, and there's so many of them for the industry that we have in Australia. It's unbelievable. The transition and the innovation and how quickly it's moved in the last decade, it's quite outstanding, and I think it's got further to go yet.